Welcome back, listeners, to the Brighter Side of Blue, our worldwide podcast, coming to you almost live from Columbo's Cafe and Tavern in Dogtown. I'm Danny.
I'm Tommy.
I'm JJ.
Producer John.
I'm Huggy.
Huggy made an appearance.
Huggy here.
You gotta love that.
Huggy here.
Stepped out from behind the scenes.
Huggy, just so you know, he still exists. He's still doing it. He still drives his podcast. Trust me.
He's been
Right.
editing Story Vaults.
Yes, he
Yeah,
has.
Story Vault. Hey, Story Vault was huge. Great. Loved
That
it.
was good. That was funny how it went
was
back
really-
and forth.
Yeah,
Good
Huggy
song
did a
at the
great
end.
job. Yeah, it was very good.
And then this week we got the fight between Tammy Sirocco Benjamin and the
Southside rapist, Dennis Rabbit.
So if you don't want to hear the whole thing, you just go to episode 2 or episode 1, part 2. But Huggy just put out the fight, which is pretty cool. That shows a strong determination and will, and just
Power woman.
14 years old.
Tammy Sirocco, 14 years old. Big old goon, Dennis Rabbit come in, Southside rapist, terrorizing
I
South
thought
St.
it
Louis.
said Southside Therapist.
She's a little bitty thing too, man.
She's a little bitty thing.
Fought that big fat dude up.
Big
Yep.
fat pervert got taken down.
Taken down.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
She
that's
took
a
his
good-
ass down. She
This
said, "I
story
could
vault
take
was a good idea by you.
It's just
He's
bring the
a-
stories back out.
Just say thank you. That's all I was looking for.
Shut up.
17 million views across all platforms. Everybody's doing great on like, subscribe, share.
But we can do better.
We can do better. And we can do better on becoming part of the roll call on Venmo.
Yes, you will get
At-
a roll call.
At Brighter Side of Blue. John, I did that. Venmo, at Brighter Side of Blue. I'm going to start calling people out. Actually, we have our guest host in the audience, Tom Malachek. So I'm going to ask you, have you got on Venmo yet? Are you a supporter of the show?
Absolutely.
At Venmo? Liar. Liar.
He's donating half his check.
That's what he said.
Fall attire to come out.
He's waiting for the fall attire to come out. Do you want the Brighter Side of Blue attire, or do you want the producer John line?
No, I'll take the producer John.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. There's a
All right.
lot of New Balance involved and a lot of jean shorts.
Right up his alley.
Anything Peter Millar.
No, he doesn't know who Peter Millar is. Trust me.
Neither do I.
Right, he knows who Rodney Dangerfield is.
Al Bundy.
That's and Al Bundy, the Al Bundy line. Okay, that's where we're going. Hey, we're gonna get serious really quick because I think we're all a little pissed off in the blue wave world. So it was the 10th anniversary of the kickoff of Ferguson, and what do we have after a peaceful protest? We have a stellar officer that is in the hospital fighting for his life. He's not fighting for his life. He's not conscious. He's never been conscious since the incident of the peaceful protest. So I don't know what we have to do to get a point across that we're just not punching bags. Law enforcement's not a bunch of punching bags for people at these peaceful protests. So a little pissed off.
I think Chief Troy Doyle did a great job.
He did a great job.
And it was powerful. These guys that are working out there right now are getting along with the public. Troy's doing a great job. They're working with everybody around, yet, and they had nothing to do with what happened 10 years ago. Whether you agree with what happened, disagree with what happened, whatever it is, they weren't around.
We're around.
And Troy's doing a great job, and the officers are doing a great job. And here it is 10 years later. And I'll just say it, the thing was investigated by the local, the county, was by our U.S. Attorney's Office, by the DOJ. Now, these are all different investigations. So that's 3. Then the county again, so there's 4. So the narrative is complete bullshit.
Well, there's certain people that just love to protest, and they're just looking for a reason to get together and do their thing. And actually, Greg Colombo and I were talking earlier, and he reminded me of something I said earlier in a podcast, that nothing good has ever come out of Ferguson, except
Body cams.
body cams. But other than that, I can't name one thing that was positive that ever came out from that. And now this guy trying to do his job, and they attack him. It's unforgivable, and it's just stupid. And I'm tired of this. The people that live for protest, and that's just getting old.
Hey, and protesting is one thing, and it goes back to the hippie days, and it's fine. But but targeting law enforcement as the bad guys. So I mean, here's the bottom line of this particular not peaceful protest. The suspect that did this to Officer Brown was ripping down the fence to police headquarters. He was damaging it, ripping it down. So should we let it go? Should we just leave it unaddressed and just forget about it?
Just walk away.
Or does he and he came from East St. Louis, so he's not even from around there. He's just a shit disturber. Or do we have to take him into custody and have him answer for what he's doing? Well, we have to take him into custody. There was some news outlet that was calling it a collision. It was not a collision. It wasn't a collision.
Right.
Okay.
Car wreck.
Officer Brown was waiting, trying to block off the suspect's escape route, and the suspect wasn't going to have it. He bull rushed the officer, and now he's fighting for his life, literally, and he's got kids, and he's also the son of a ex-city policeman that I worked with. So I'm not going to say his name, but it's a great guy, great family, and so it's not right. It's not right, and law enforcement, we're not going to take it. And that's why this show started, and that's why the Blue Wave is growing across the country, and it's only getting stronger, and we're not going to take this shit.
Well, Chief Doyle even said they went as far as changing their uniforms, everything about the way they did business before Michael Brown, to try to make things better between the police and the community. And that wasn't good enough for certain people. It was the people who were there at midnight. It wasn't
Oh, yeah.
the people there during the day. So it's just got to stop as far as peaceful protesting is great. You can do it.
100%.
But,
Whatever.
I was saying the
when
same
it gets
thing. I
violent.
I still have to deal with it, being in the unit I'm in. And we've had to deal with some protests recently. And if they're just going to march and do their thing, it's not a big deal. We don't care. We'll block streets for them and let them walk through and do their thing. And then they go on. They don't throw rocks or cause problems. That's what this country's made on. They can. I don't agree with them, but if they want to do it, have at it.
Right.
And just keep it peaceful.
But wasn't that officer? He's got a brother on the police department too, doesn't he? On the St. Louis Police Department.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a family.
No,
I mean,
I
the
don't-
family
actually,
of.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't have to say his
I
name.
don't. Well,
But like he said, his father's a policeman. And his brother's a policeman. They got a family history of just trying to help.
well, I know that a lot of the guys that worked with me, the young guys, the SWAT guys, and he went to our SWAT school, and some of the guys on the SWAT team are really taking it hard, and they're posting things on Facebook. And, Officer Benny Blackman was one of the city SWAT guys. He wrote a post on Facebook, and I thought, holy cow, that was powerful. I'm not going to read it or talk about it, but it was. I told Benny, this thing needs to go viral. Your podcast, 'cause he kind of just called everybody out, called it for what it was.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not going to disagree with you, JJ, about nothing's good has come from Ferguson. What we mean by that is during the protest era.
Right.
Hey, Ferguson's a great city, and 98.6 of the people there love law enforcement, love where they live, and they're part of a community, and they're rooting for us. Okay, so they don't want us to take the crap from these criminals, and so Ferguson is a good town that lets bad people come in and tear up their city, and then we
I
take
think
the
on a
brunt of
previous
it.
podcast you were talking about how the criminal activity in the city of St. Louis, you can narrow it down to like 10% of the people. So it's not like the city's just an entire place of, but it's the same with the protesters.
I think it's like 1%.
There's the same people
Yeah.
all the time.
I
And
worked
that's where
for
they meet
Chiefs.
each other. That's where they rile each other up. They get on social
I have a
media.
theory, and it's probably not a great theory.
Your theories are good. Don't underestimate yourself, dude.
I just think that they don't have a whole lot to do, and it's their social life. It's what they live for, and then they get together. And I've been there where protests get together after they've been gone for a while, and they're hugging each other, and they're
Right.
just glad to see. It gives them a purpose to do something, to be part of something. And
And they're mad. They're always fucking mad.
They're always mad. So
Always mad.
that's my theory. It's just a social thing for them, and the madder they get, the happier they
Oh,
get.
they get riled up now.
I worked for at the time Major Joe Spees, and I was a captain in the 1st District, and he kind of what the most violent offenders unit did, isolate and I think the statistic was like 1% of the citizens are causing 99% of the problems, and so you just surgically strike that small group, and that's kind of the theory of the most violent offenders unit and all that stuff. Go get the small group of people that are stirring up the most stuff. So
Well, protesters aren't in that group. They're just housewives, whoever come from all walks of life. Half of them, or most of them, don't have have records. They just like to protest. 'Cause they're
And
just-
their records are,
They get-
with protest-related arrest,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
blocking traffic and
Oh yeah, those that got locked up.
Hey,
for
we
protesting.
won't beat it to death.
Just did.
No, we didn't. We maybe we can keep going for 5 minutes, but we
Well, we
won't.
could.
We could, but when we see it, we're going to call it out. You know how they say, "See something, say something." That's what we're going to do on this podcast. We see some bullshit. The media's going to say, he collided with the officer.
Altercation.
Altercation. Hey, when we see it, we're going to say it's bullshit. Come get us. Like I say, media, grow a set of balls and say what it is. Law enforcement is there to protect you. It's a thin line between the bad guys and the good guys. It's cops and robbers, and we're the cops.
Just keep praying for him, and hopefully.
Yeah, he's in a bad situation
Yes, he
because of
is.
some stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from that though. But you know what? But we'll go right away. We'll go to the theme that we respect. Your favorite sheriff.
Oh, Sheriff Grady Judd. He got something to say.
He got
something to say.
What would he do in Ferguson?
Well, he pointed the dead deputy's gun at a SWAT team. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get shot. A lot. You're going to get shot so much you can read the Sunday New York Times through you. And that's what happened.
When they took out one of your deputies and the K9, if I'm not mistaken, and then the criminal came and shot him from the back, if I'm not mistaken, shot him 6 or 8 times. And then you guys shot this guy 68 times. And when the media asked you, why shoot him 68 times? Your answer was, we ran out of bullets. We would have shot him more. Where does that come from?
It comes from the heart, and it comes from the soul, and it comes from what the overwhelming majority of the people are thinking.
Man.
Grady don't play.
He doesn't play. Hey, we're not punching bags.
97%.
We're here to help. We're not here to be bullied.
That in Florida is how you get 96% of votes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
You might get 98 next year.
It's
And we're
gross.
still we're waiting for them to get back to us, correct, John, about Grady's availability?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
Yeah. I hope-
I don't even know.
I think our listeners would love to hear from him.
Oh,
you know,
that'd be awesome.
It's like meeting your man. You know,
Yeah,
like with a lot of us sports athletes are our buddies or our idols. Just talking to him and getting his point. They did ask if we taped though, because every once in a while he says some stuff that they may not want to get.
that
out
sounds
there.
like us, like JJ
Right.
mainly.
That's exactly like us. So we're like, oh yeah, we already got that covered. That's like us.
Yeah, we have to do the same thing. Speaking of sports favorites, my favorite sports person right now is the Olympic breakdancer from Australia, and there she is. There she is.
Look at
See
that
those
move.
judges in the
Look
background?
at that move.
She is their number one Australia. She's the breakdancer that they brought to the Olympics in Paris. You see those judges? They gave her 0.00. They didn't give her a tenth of a point. They gave her zeros.
We have the video of her do. Actually, I tried to find the video.
She never left the ground.
Never left her. That
She
day.
just rolled
there
around
she
on
is
the
doing
ground.
Thriller, Michael Jackson, right there.
The arc.
Thriller
With the
Look at
arc.
that.
I thought it was
Yeah.
the puppy arc. It's just going down as a puppy.
Look at that. Producer John
That
would
is a
score
move.
more points than she did. You go
That
up
is
there
a
with your
good-
blue jean shorts with 7 pockets, white New Balance shoes with high socks.
That's like
Do some crazy shit and you get a half a
I could do
point.
the spin on my back. I could. Do
I would have
that.
left the ground when I tripped.
right.
And you get a half a point.
Get a half a
But
point for that.
is that like her finale move? Is that her like her final move? Like this is how I'm ending this shit.
That's her go-to move right
That
there,
was the
bro.
show.
Look at that. That's like an exclamation point to a breakdance,
Yeah,
though.
she's a- yeah.
Look at that. She's just saying, I just killed that.
So she is a 36-year-old professor. She's a school teacher in Australia, okay? And this is the first time that the breakdancing was ever in the Olympics. And it turns out, and you taught me this, every host country gets to pick a new sport. And France picked breakdancing. And Australia didn't have a lot of candidates, but homegirl here came in strong with her 0.00.
She got a free trip to this.
Australia, yeah.
killed it.
She's made. You
Paris,
know
I'm
what?
guessing.
Somebody, I think this was Greg Colombo. You know, we're all talking about her.
Right. It was
Who
a
won the
plan.
gold? Who won the gold? She's making a ton of money.
Oh, I think
We don't even know who
she's
won the
getting pretty
gold.
Criticized.
She
But
is.
but just like the guy that knocked the thing off with his schlong.
Yeah.
It's just,
The
you know,
pole.
was it planned?
Maybe they could hook up.
This could be a match made in heaven.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
As a hot
God!
two gal, I hope she makes $1 million.
It's so breakdance is already out of the Olympics. It was
Good.
one and
It's-
done.
It was goofy.
But I think they're going to
But I'm going to
ballroom.
miss her. In 4 years, I will be wondering what she's doing. I'm going to miss her.
36-year-old. I don't think that breakdancing is like 36 is your prime age.
A white female, 36-year-old. That's just not going
That's
to
not prime candidate for breakdancing.
Dude, she did this on a bet as a joke. She was
What is,
not.
She
serious.
won. Like you said, nobody would know her.
No.
If you won them, I don't know who won
She
the
got a
gold
free
medal.
trip
Do you?
to Paris, I'm guessing.
You know, her name is Rachel Gunn. Couldn't be a more white name, Rachel Gunn. But her breakdancing name is Ray Gunn.
That's
So
tight.
there go Ray Gunn.
That is tight.
Hey, the next Summer Olympics is in L.A. What are they going to introduce?
I don't know.
I think you have to like drive around homeless people or something.
No, I think they're gonna have carjacking.
The homeless challenge.
Carjacking. On gold medals and carjacking. Those people that you caught.
We're not political on this show.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
The homeless challenge.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. We get to pick a sport. We get to add a sport.
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
we need to open that up to the listeners. What
What should it be?
sport should it be?
Yeah.
Chuck, what do you think? You got anything?
I was distracted. What you
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry
You could
about
take like one of those shopping
I
carts
understand.
full of like tin cans and push and have a race down the street. There's all kinds of stuff they could do in L.A.
Well, you're brutal today, producer John. Hey,
Yeah,
Tommy.
I am.
I don't know the answer to this question, but any more good suggestions on losing the fantasy sports?
I haven't. That thing is still going, and it's been going on. I mean, as far as people answering for so long, I just stopped. I was just like, all right.
I want
this
to see if
is
there's
enough
any
of this
more
one.
good
Fantasy,
suggestions.
No, there's none.
fantasy football?
Yeah.
This Saturday, I have my fantasy football meeting. Any tips?
Well, what's the punishment for the last place?
We don't play that.
Oh, you know.
I'll bring it up.
Right.
We'll discuss it.
Can't discuss it.
JJ's gonna wait to see what his team looks like before he brings it up.
yeah. Hey, what's Woody up to?
Oh, dude. Play with those. Play a little bit of Woody first before we start talking about it.
So hey, wait a minute. This trial started again. He's getting back on the
It's
stand,
back. So Woody is now back.
and they're letting him do the same shenanigans.
Not exactly. They expect it to be done tomorrow. So he's already testified for like a week before this. Then they said you got to start all over. Well, when Woody comes back now,
Woody
he's a
don't play
star
that
now
shit.
when he comes back. It's been gone for like 3 weeks off. So he was before in the trial. He was wearing like old nasty T-shirts. At one point he was in prison garb, obviously. But after the 3 weeks off, this dude has been on a tour, and he comes back in like a $7,000 suit. So here we go. But give us some Woody.
I didn't know I was supposed to play it. I don't.
We'll throw it in there.
So they knew that, okay, we gonna get Woody today. He gonna have something to say about and it's wrong. And y'all are wrong because y'all know that I'm full of shit. And y'all keep trying to drag me in here to bring up bullshit that y'all know I don't say it. Why is y'all doing that? Leave me alone. If y'all gonna try me for what I did, I don't did the time for the crimes y'all caught me for.
Would you mind your language while we're sitting here in court?
I'm trying to. Y'all need to give me a break because my blood pressure is real high. I keep telling
Oh, that was really great.
Yeah, that's some funny shit.
Good stuff.
Woody's some funny
Woody's-
shit.
He's my idol.
Hey,
But anyway-
you know what? I feel bad. I'm worried for Woody.
Uh-oh.
I think he's got a short life experience or expectation. I'm guessing.
Really?
But
Because-
he's rolling now.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's on all kinds of just these social media, and the judge declared him as a hostile witness, and so for those that don't know, that allows the prosecutors to use leading questions to where the answer is yes or no, so he doesn't get to expound on shit. So every time they ask him this yes or no question, his answer is I don't know or I don't recall. So after this trial, he's come out with a rap song called "I Don't Recall," and it's all over the place. So, yeah, Woody is rolling.
Is he
And
banking some cash on this? And
you got to think
I think maybe we have Woody on if he survives.
it's Woody.
Woody. I'm
Woody,
sorry.
sorry.
So I don't because he gets mad when you call him Woody.
Yeah, sorry.
So he would never come on if he found out that we called him Woody.
Oh.
So we got to call him Woody.
Woody.
Extra.
But the judge and again the prosecutors in this case, and they have fumbled the ball so much that this was their key witness. This was actually their linchpin witness on the entire case.
And now he's a
and we
hostile
still got
witness.
100 witnesses to go. And they started with this guy after the break. This is going to be, I'm telling you, it's a complete mockery of the justice system that is kind of entertaining, though.
Oh, my God.
Great video.
What time is it?
It's time for
Shit, JJ?
JJ. And he
Come
said
on.
he's threatening the shortest Zen ever.
I don't
Maybe
know.
one of the most
Powerful?
and deep.
Come on. Come on now.
What do you got?
Some people feel the rain, others just get wet. That's by Bob Marley. It's in the lyric.
Say it again.
Some people feel the rain, and other people just get wet. Actually, it's others just get wet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really deep.
Actually, put it in a song, and then they try
What
to
song
get,
is it?
I don't know. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it, but they said that Bob Dylan was given. They gave Bob Dylan credit for it for a little bit, but it was actually put in a song by Bob Marley, and it was written, we believe, by one of the guys that wrote a lot of his songs. And it has such a white guy's name, Robert Miller. It was really
Bob.
Well, they call him Robert Miller.
Okay.
And he's the one actually credited for giving that lyric to Bob Marley. And my
Very
brother,
good.
that's my brother who Dick's on fire. That's his favorite quote. That was what he was going to say.
All right.
That was his Zen he wanted me to tell you guys.
That was from Dick Joyner.
What does it mean?
Right?
That's deep. So if you want to go down that
That's what
alley,
we wanna
you
do.
can.
Was that from your
That's
brother?
what we want to do.
Was
No.
that from your brother,
Deep.
Dick Joyner?
Yeah.
I just want to say that again. Was that from your brother, Dick Joyner?
Yeah, and he's on fire again.
I just like saying it. I'm going to say it all the time.
Did you guys,
Should've brought it down here.
the Olympics, did you guys see them during the closing ceremonies that some dude climbed up the Eiffel Tower? Yeah.
Who was it?
I don't know. Some
it-
dude, a climber.
Was it Dick Joyner?
He isn't. He does like do crazy stuff.
Hey, you know what my brother said in high school when he first started high school? When people ask his
Some
name.
people stand in the rain, some get wet.
No, when people ask him what his name was,
Yeah.
he said girls never forgot it.
Yeah. I believe it.
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
I got
Never forget that one.
Yeah, you got an issue, too.
I've had people make fun of my name.
Yeah. Hey, so tonight we have two famous detectives,
Yep.
Detective Sergeant coming on. And before I let you tell the listeners what they're going to talk about, one thing I found fascinating, it was unscripted, was Sergeant Lachenicht's relationship with the Schicker Automotive Group. And they're one of our big sponsors. They're a big supporter of law enforcement. And so if you're looking for anything, they also sell a Dodge and Jeep out in Washington, Missouri. But right now, Schicker Automotive has some electric vehicles. The Ford F-150 Lightning, which I drove with Tommy and John. You can lease
Badass?
it. It was badass.
It was
You
cool.
can lease it for $445 a month, or finance it at 0% interest for 72 months.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Really good deal. The Ford Mustang Mach-E electric, you can lease it for $433 a month, or 0% interest for 72 months. Not everybody qualifies. JJ probably would not qualify. You probably won't get in one of those vehicles.
But they better hurry up. It ends.
It ends August 31st. And but thank you again for Schicker Automotive Group for all they do for the show.
There is a disclaimer on the Schicker ad. It's see dealer for details. Payment is based on $3,000 down plus taxes and fees. Not all buyers will qualify.
All right.
I think we'll all qualify.
Well,
Hopefully. Hopefully.
There we go.
Well, where was I?
You were going to talk about
the MVOP.
probably
The extra kick that Schicker got during the MVOP discussions with Leo Rice and Anthony Lachenicht.
They bought like 10 cars from him already.
At least. And then there was a special story there that what Mr. Schicker did for the Lachenicht family in times of need. So that was, and then another great sponsors of ours is Corby Campbell and the Campbell Security Group. And they are there for you in any needs that you would need as far as security goes. You know, you need some security guards for some business. You need a neighborhood watch, corporate security of any sort. You know, or you need some executives flown from city to city, and you need some what do they call that, JJ, when you go before the pre-planning?
Sure.
Yeah. If you need any of that, they're
Advanced work. Tom,
advanced. Yes.
we have the Checkster here. He was the expert on advanced work.
Advanced security, any of that kind of stuff. Corby does that, and he does it at a corporate level. He does it at a neighborhood level, and he does it at a personal level. So
Good guy, good company.
Corby or the CampbellSecurityGroup.com.
Good sponsors, just like the Malachek family. They're coming on strong on the Venmo as we speak.
Hey,
Right.
Wait a minute.
He's over there looking it up now. Look at
Can
him.
you get a good pizza somewhere?
There at Columbo's, I would
Oh,
imagine.
okay.
I bet you they got.
Cafe
I
and
know they got good
cafe.
The
pizza.
Sebos, large
Oh.
pizza. Yep.
Okay. I got you.
We got one coming.
Producer
don't we?
John, are we sitting on a newsroom.com over there?
Come on, Johnny.
And does it involve horse whipping of males in public?
Paoli, Indiana.
Paola, Indiana.
Not yet.
And I got
Okay.
to pee, so can you make this one quick?
Are you serious right now?
No.
Okay.
I got a quick one this week.
Oh.
It's not as quick as yours, Zen, but
Where's our music for newsroom.com?
I'm not ready for music yet.
Okay, sorry.
All right, make sure you go to the Hooties Rescue Haven Golf Tournament, October 6th. I'm going to keep pushing that till October 6th. But now it's time for the news.
Newsroom.com.
All right, does anybody in the room know where Moldova is? in Europe?
Moldova?
Moldova.
Indiana.
Florida.
It's not in.
Missouri.
It's not in. It's not in this part of the world. It's in Europe.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a small country over. It's between Ukraine and Romania.
Is that where that breakdancer came from?
Yeah, they had a better break dancer. Moldova did.
Probably a pretty poppin' area right now.
It's called Volva?
Moldova. So anyway, back in 2005, there was a person named Vladimir Kozak. He was a Russian, and he was a trained hypnotist. And he ended up in Moldova. And his gig was he would go to banks and act like he's opening an account, but he would get in a conversation with the teller and look him in the eyes, and he could hypnotize them, and they would reach in and they would grab all the money out of the till and hand it to him and walk out.
What year was this?
Come on.
2005.
I believe it.
So
He was, he was good.
So when they the first couple times he did it, they thought the tellers were in on it with him, and they never really. I don't think they were ever really decided whether they did or not. But anyway, he got away with this. He got one bank for $12,000, but overall he got $40,000 in this
By hypnotizing people.
hypnotizing people. He had that.
What year was this?
2005.
2005. So the funny part to me is that the police had pictures of him, from the bank, and they made these posters up saying this guy hypnotizes people, and be on the lookout for him. But they told the tellers not to look in the eyes of the guy in the poster because they were afraid they were going to get hypnotized. So anyway, Vladimir got away with it, and he's.
I think we have a picture of the woman teller that was hypnotized. If you click on your screen up there, pole vault, go all the way down to pole vault. I think this is the woman that was hypnotized. So that's
She's still hypnotized.
She said, that's her. She's like, "What are you saying? You're gonna take all my money?"
That's a good call.
So Vladimir, turn yourself in.
So he's still on the lam.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
He keeps,
With 40
he probably
grand.
gets locked up and then hypnotizes the policeman and locks him up, and they let him go.
I'm all for it.
Police
That's
police
a-
departments use hypnosis sometimes too, because sometimes people are traumatized, and the hypnosis makes them remember things that they can't.
I was hypnotized for most of my career.
But
I
did he
don't
have
ever
one of them
remember going to
meda-
work.
That's called sleeping on the job. is what
Did he have one of them medallions that he just came up? Maybe they could say, "Don't look in his eye, but don't look at that medallion." He's swinging in front of you.
He didn't even need that.
He was good.
He is good.
I mean,
That's a
look,
good
that's
crime.
some scary shit.
Look at her.
Tommy, who do we got coming on?
Oh, Tony Lachenicht and Pretty Tony.
Pretty Tony.
Pretty Tony and Leo Rice. We're going to talk about the MVOP or the MVOU, the Most Violent Offenders Unit, and it was a great era. It was a fun conversation with them. Lots of stories, entertainment. We had a lot of fun.
Before we cut off to that, do you have a story vault for this Saturday?
A story, yeah. It's Tammy Sirocco.
Oh yeah, we already talked about that. Sorry,
The fight.
I was hypnotized.
The fight, just the fight. That's it.
Okay.
And if you want to listen to more, you go find her in episode 1, part 2, where we document the Southside rapists. And that was how about that? For right out of the bat, we get Tammy Sirocco.
That was
Youngest
great
victim of
one
the
to start.
Southside rapist.
I mean, right off the bat, that was a pretty powerful
Powerful.
show with
Yeah.
him and Randy. And once again, I like to thank everybody that when you listen to that episode, those were the guys that listened to that episode the day or 2 days after it came out that made the show what it is.
Yeah.
They've texted their friends and they said, these guys might have something going on. And the next thing you know, here we are, basement of Columbo's. Just you got about 10, 15 people here watching us, and it's pretty cool.
Yep. All right. What do you say?
Communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live. JJ, you got anything?
Just sign out from the home of Brighter Side of Blue, Columbo's Cafe and Tavern.
Stay safe out there.
Enjoy the conversation.
As promised, we're back. The Brighter Side of Blue, coming to you from the basement of Columbo's Cafe and Tavern in Dogtown. Special guests tonight. Some of the original members of the Most Violent Offenders Unit. Detective Sergeant Tony Lachenicht, the most
Violent.
insubordinate sergeant that ever worked for me, and Detective Leo Rice. And so, welcome.
You don't think he's insubordinate?
No, he was never insubordinate to me,
Or
but
him?
you were.
Or
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Well, leave me alone.
I'll say something about Tony as a sergeant. This is a compliment, Tony. you were the highest ranking sergeant. You and Cliffle didn't take shit off anybody, and didn't matter who you were or what rank you were.
True that.
Especially at the end of your career when you had the.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, that's when I had Tony. He was a detective sergeant in
Bad
first
timing
district.
on your part.
I was a major down south. I would just go in there with a list of like 7 things that I needed him to do, hoping fully that he'd do 2 of them.
I used to
Good average.
Probably
Storage.
maybe one.
284
Yeah,
or something.
but you know what they
A
say?
lot of them were a little,
Insane.
yeah.
Well, you know,
And you'd forget that by the next day.
100%. But you know what they say? A great salesman, if you get if you contact 10 people and you get 1 sale, you're a great salesperson. So I think I was a great major because I would give 10 tasks to you and you do sometimes 2 of them. So I think I was a good major.
You were a good major, but some of your ideas were just.
There you go.
I'm an idea guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell us about how this thing started, the MVOU. For those people listening in Hong Kong, Most Violent Offenders Unit.
Well, it all started when a new lieutenant took over the narcotics unit, and our city was getting hammered by violent crime at that time. So he got together with 2 of our partners, DEA and ATF, and they came up with a solution where they put a unit together, and it included two detectives from DEA and 2 from ATF.
Who's the lieutenant?
Oh, do I have to?
Well, it'd be kind of helpful.
Oh, it was like one of his better ideas.
Okay.
Joe Spees.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
That would be the chief.
Chief
fuzzball guy.
Spees. Chief, the fuzzball guy.
Mary Michelle, you need to have a drink.
Yeah.
Drink up, sister.
Chief Spees. Go ahead.
So anyway, so they actually sent detectives over, and then we sat down and grabbed some pretty proactive policemen.
Handpicked.
Yeah. And we put the unit together, and we had one day where we sat down, discussed what we wanted to do, and man, the next night we hit the street. And
How many guys did you start with?
it started off with I think 10 guys, and then the 2 from DEA and 2 from ATF.
Okay.
And I will say this: the guys they sent over from ATF and DEA, they worked their asses off. They really did. I mean, this thing wouldn't have worked without them.
So you
guys.
didn't know them prior?
No. Well, a couple
You
of
knew
guys
me.
did. Yeah, well, you weren't on the unit, I don't think.
No, I was in Mobile Reserve Squad at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
You
leave.
didn't make the cut, I don't think.
You're right.
So, but the guys from DEA and ATF actually came in and they were running and gunning with us, and they actually helped make the thing run. Actually, the the first thing we did was something I think Tommy had with a couple guys from DEA, and we hit a couple brothers up on Grand and Natural Bridge, and that itself.
Brothers, as in people that were related.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first night of the. And I think Leo had,
Freudian slip.
Thank you.
and I think Leo had something to do with that too. Was that there was a bunch of gang members in that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mobile, it was our first night. You know, we got really good information that there was just a gang members from the 5th District up in this house, and Mobile hit it, and they hit it with about 8 flashbangs. I mean, that thing started, bah, 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 bah. Well, it was the beginning of January, so there was a Christmas tree in the corner of the apartment, and it was on the 2nd floor. And you could see everybody, the Christmas trees flying, because they're all heading for the windows, trying to jump out the windows. It was a pretty good one. That's the first night of the unit.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Start.
I was
Started
on the
with a
first
bang.
floor on the sidewalk
Literally.
when they throw the flashbangs in, and I still remember looking up, and like Tom said, one of the windows busted out, and some guy's head comes out, and his upper torso comes halfway out, and then he went back in, and come to find out that he heard all the commotion, so he jumped behind the couch. Well, one of the flashbangs ended up back there with him, and when it went off, it scared the hell out of him, and that's like Tom said, all he thought was, I'm getting out of here, and
Come out the window.
came halfway out the window. Yeah.
So who were you guys targeting?
It was all just violent offenders that we actually sat down with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we came up with a list of how to determine if they were violent. If you committed a murder, you're on the list right away. Anybody with that had a propensity for carrying guns,
Shooters.
and had done time. Yeah,
Yeah.
any shooting, they were automatically on the list. So
And most of these guys had at least 3 murders under their belt.
Several murders.
Allegedly.
I'll say this about the unit too, is that again, Joe Spee started it, and he was working with DEA and ATF, and Jack Riley was one of the guys that they were working with, and he and they got along really good. So when I was there as a TFO, so Jack took
Task
me,
force officer.
task force officer. So Jack took me and 2 detectives or 2 agents, like Tony said, and it was Lonnie Parrish, and it was Ken Solik, and we went over there and we worked the same hours they worked. We worked if they worked 6 to 2, we worked 6 to 2. If they worked, during the day, we worked during the day. So it was, and we rode the streets with them. Because a lot of times you get those guys from a federal, and they just pop in when they want, right? They just pop in, they go out. But then, and ATF sent a guy by the name of Mike Johnson, who was a very proactive ATF agent.
and Ramos.
And Ramos,
Yeah.
and then another young kid named Mike Hungaria, if you remember Mike.
Yeah,
He
was
came
there.
on the second version
Yeah.
when they.
Right.
But and I also talk about the leadership that we had, and any good unit that has success, and we've heard it 20 times on the show, is that it's the supervisors. So Joe,
Chief Spees
picked Tony and Terry Sloan.
Well, hold on. He picked Sloan first, which I would have done too.
Well,
Because
yeah, exactly.
everybody here knows Terry. Terry was a stud. He knew everybody, was well respected, and had been through just about everything.
Yeah.
So if
think
you're
he
going to
did-
have somebody on that unit,
It's a good start.
So he
Terry's
wasn't forced to take you?
Terry was, yeah.
No. Joe wasn't forced to take you.
Yeah, that too.
But we, and again, the guys that were down there, hard workers, out on the street every day, and it doesn't sound like a lot, 10, then you put 14, but that's several, and we kind of had partners, but you kind of worked on your own kind of thing, but then grabbed somebody when you needed them. And there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot. So you needed to really have supervisors that could really pay attention. Because
That didn't help much.
No, I can imagine. Now, did the feds bring some firepower, the helicopters and planes?
anything
and-
you needed. So
Okay.
it was neat because we in turn would help them with their long-term cases. And they had violent offenders units too, but they would, the federal government's not jumping out of their cars up in the 6th district.
Right.
But when we would get good information, we would give it to the feds, and they would work up cases and make long-term cases out of it. And then we would help them when they needed to do surveillance on different people for a wiretap, and we've used JJ. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We used him a couple times. Almost got him killed once. But if you look at it, and it was the way that we did, that they structured it with all these guys, that it ends up being more like 30 40 people when you add
Helping,
the ATF
yeah.
people that when you needed them. If the ATF guys called the ATF building and said we need 8 people, they'd send them.
Okay, gotcha.
And DEA would be the same way. So it was pretty neat. It was a pretty special era for myself, and I know that Leo, that's for myself and Leo started. And again, we say we rode together, but everybody was kind of solo, but it seemed like myself and Leo would jump in. When we jumped into the car together, a lot of shenanigans would happen.
That's pretty awesome.
But
So, go ahead.
well, one of the things that I'll let Leo tell a story on is Leo does hold a record for the nastiest search warrant in the history of search warrants in the
The
city of St.
nastiest search warrant.
Louis. Go ahead,
That's
Leo.
saying
Let him-
something.
this is
By
a little-
far, this Hoosier up in the 5th District. And,
White trash.
Elisha, white trash. Had the nastiest house. So get the information, we do a search warrant, we kick in the door. Well, Mobile kicked in the door first, and then we had to go in. And they come out, they're a little upset with us of the conditions of the house. So even the dogs didn't want to be in the house. And Grandma come down, and she's standing out in front. She gets a phone call. They got Elijah for sales. She had a little bit of a list.
Okay,
The
I
house
got
was
you.
so nasty, though. The kids had to be taken away. The filthiest diapers you ever seen. They were everywhere.
Well, there was 2 foot of sewage in the basement.
All right.
2 foot of sewage, and the diapers that they would take off the kids, they just wrap them up, you know. Like,
Throw them down the basement.
and
In the crib.
they were all
crib
over the house.
with the kid. Yeah.
In the
So
drawers.
it was the nastiest. And then when so Leo, we're all kind of Leo's really I was like, God damn. So Jay Cliff will come out and he goes, you know, and Jay Cliffle's been in SWAT forever, probably done thousands of search warrants. He says, "You guys win." He goes, "That's the nastiest place I've ever seen in my life."
Oh, good God. Did
That's
you get any
saying
dope or bad guys out of there, or just all shitty
No,
diapers?
We get dope and guns out of there. We took him.
They got
Just
cholera.
kidding.
We got
too.
Elijah.
They
Literally
hid the
had to
dope
go
in the
in.
diapers.
You could only go in for like 2 minutes at a time because it was so nasty, and then you
Right.
have to come out. And then finally, we're like, all right, we found enough to put this Hoosier.
Talking to
in
you,
jail.
Mike,
Yeah.
dude.
Done. We're not going back in. If he's got more hidden in there, he can
2 ounces
But
of
we-
E. coli.
Yeah, we just stepped out. Well, when that gal said they got Elijah for sales, Leo was mad, and he goes, "How the fuck you know what we got Elijah for?" And they're just accusing the grandmother, going, "Nah, you just put him in jail because you didn't know what we were here for. We didn't talk to you." So he blamed grandma for yeah. Now you just snitched on him. We got him now for sales.
That's funny.
And then the other one that I guess we'll tell is JJ. We almost got him hurt, or we put him in a bad
It
situation.
was supposed to be nothing. It was supposed to be a small little house, not a lot.
Whose warrant was that?
Sawyer's.
It was me and Leo.
But it was supposed to be nothing big. We're just gonna go hit this house. There was snow on the ground, just a little covered the grass just a little bit, and he said not a big deal. I think there's 1 or 2 people in there at the most.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
somebody had just came. We briefed him and we said, "Hey, it was the 10th day of the warrant, so we were sitting on it all day, and we're like, nothing's going on.
Now, this is in Dogtown.
This is right around the corner here from Columbus.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is on
wow.
Brock,
Yeah.
right around the
Oh,
corner.
yeah.
So it was played cheaply.
So we said we meet them.
No.
So they come home. 2 guys come home at 8:00. So we're like, all right, we'll hit it.
It was the guy that lived there.
Right.
Yeah.
So we call Mobile.
guy.
We call Mobile, and we meet him right here at the warehouse, at the restaurant warehouse. And we're like, hey, there's 2 people in there. It's the 10th day. Just go hit the place. Oh, okay. And then you can take it from there.
It was everybody and their brother was in there. It was probably what 10, 12 people. I'm not sure, but every couch was full, every love seat was full, and we in there were that was the shocking part. They're all sitting there like staring at us when we hit the door, and I was point, so I went past them all, and the other guys dealt with those guys. This guy came around the corner. His nickname we found out later is Baby Shaq.
So he's big.
He was big, and funny or not, but he stumbled and he grabbed the front of my gun, and he's a gentle giant though. He grabbed it because he's tripped up, but it scared the hell out of me. And I pushed his hand. I'm like, what? In the? He goes, I'm sorry. He apologized. And I didn't want to fight with him, so I was like, apology accepted, brother. So we sat them all in their room, and
A couple of them got out the back door.
yes, and that's
And they were
Tom
both
can
big
tell that.
too.
Well, like he was saying, there was a little snow on the ground, so they came out the back door and there were steps going down to the thing. First guy came out, took a right. He was going to go down the steps. I got this guy. Well, the other guy jumped off the porch and he was running. And I go, I got the guy that's down here. You guys go get the guy that's running.
Because I went with Schwerby and Wolf to get the guy that ran, and he made it to the next house, and he slid down the hill, and his foot got stuck under the fence. And these guys were both big guys too. They were 6'3", 6'4".
Who was the surveillance team that only thought there was 2 people in there?
Apparently they were there all day.
Me and Leo.
Nice work,
It was our
fellas.
son. We were there all day.
Well, to our defense, what we did.
Well, let's just tell them what we got though. Inside that house was 300 pounds of weed and $300,000.
All in the basement.
Wow.
So the entire conspiracy was there. So we had 5 Mexicans that were in the house and 5 locals that were in the house. Well, and they were the 8 that were in there while we were just watching the house where there was nobody out front. That was all the Mexicans and 2 other locals were in there. And then the other 2 came home and we're like, oh, there's only other 2 in there. Well, we didn't know that the shipment had gotten there the night before. That was just pure luck. We knew that there was going to be dope in there, but we didn't know there was going to be, no time there was going to be $300,000 and 300 pounds of weed.
Any guns?
Can I tell you what I said to you?
Yeah, when he came out, I was in the back. I had that guy. Yeah.
But there was barrels of weed. And I said, I told Tommy this might be a good time for him to retire.
All I remember was walking in after everything's secure, and JJ's walking out, and he looks at me, and you could tell he was mad. He's like, one fucking person in there.
It wouldn't have been so bad if Baby Shaq didn't fall on me. But that was like, it was kind of like, holy crap. They couldn't have fit any more people in that living room. There's no way.
No, the one guy ended up being wanted by Dan Early because he ran from Dan Early like 2 weeks beforehand on a car chase. He got away.
Really?
So we got
Part
him?
of that conspiracy. Yeah,
We got him?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Was he
that
the one that
one.
ran out the back?
Nice pinch.
That was a good hit.
And then the other one that with about strong leadership. So we were having it was one of those manhunts, and the guy's name was DeJuan Littleton. And DeJuan had done like 24, 25 robberies, and everybody's looking for him. And we had him a couple times. We thought we had him cornered, and he's running over trees. And I remember Bianalino having to jive out of the way. And so we're really looking for him. And it goes on for a week. Different places. Well, Tony and Terry take off. They were just on vacation during this whole thing. Well, at the time, they had started a program where the sergeants would go from units to units and just feel how everything worked. And so when these guys went on vacation, Joe said, hey, we need one of them sergeants that are bouncing around. So Joe calls the sergeant up, and I'll leave his name out, but he calls the sergeant up and he goes, hey, listen.
It wasn't Archie.
It wasn't the same guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this one's just kind of, this isn't bad. This isn't bad at all. And Joe calls him up and says, listen, these guys have a tendency to go hard all the time. And I'm not saying they do anything stupid, but they're all over the place. You got to watch what they're doing. And it was that Monday. It was a Monday morning, and we're looking for DeJuan Littleton, and we'll all go to a house in the 5th District. And he's with me. And
The sergeant's with you?
With me. And we're coming up the back. And then there's a whole group in the front. And you hear, kaboom! And screaming and hollering. He's like, the hell's going on? And I go, I'm pretty sure they're in the house. He goes, how the hell they do that? Well, what they did was there was a mail slot in the door. And they opened it up and they seen, and the kid had dreadlocks. They kicked the door in and ran after him, and they got him. So it worked. But the sergeants did, and he's like, damn, Speece told me you guys were a little crazy.
Not really crazy. Effective.
Yeah. It was.
Borderline.
He was wanted.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on it.
There was then the other one with Diallo Davidson.
Oh, that was a good one.
And Diallo Davidson was wanted for murder. And myself and Leo got information on where he was at and set up on him. He comes out of the house. He's got his girlfriend with him, getting a chase on Highway 70 coming eastbound, middle of 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Black Beauty.
Black Beauty. That was the car I was in. We never lost anybody. And Black Beauty had some stick, dude. Black Beauty was the car I drove.
What kind of car was Black Beauty?
Grand Am.
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
And that dude, he had like a V8 in it. That thing could move. I mean, move. And we get in the middle of rush hour traffic, and Leo, give him what you were saying when we're in rough driver traffic.
I'm trying. He was going in between cars. I thought for sure we were going to hit him. I'm trying to make myself skinnier. I'm hitting the brake on the side. It ain't working.
He's going, Tom. I got this, Leo. I got this. Well, we passed a Channel 11 news van. Well, now the news van's getting in it, too.
Yeah.
So he throws the camera on, and they're in the pursuit.
Oh. And then he tries to get off on Grand. Well, he hits that Grand, the exit sign with the arrow, like right here. Just shoots over that. They land. His girlfriend's in the car. Well, I tend to her real quick. He gets out and runs. Leo's on the passenger seat. He's running. I just point the gun at her and go, stay here. And I chase the guy with Leo. And we run over a couple fences, and he goes into a vacant house. And as he's going into the vacant house, you can see he's got a gun in his hand now. And I go, shoot that motherfucker, Leo. And he gets into the house, and he comes right back out, and he goes, and he had his hands up, and he goes, don't shoot me, Leo.
A reasonable guy.
That's Tom Meehan's favorite story, isn't
Yes,
it?
he told that at his retirement.
To clear that up, though, that was just a thing we said. We didn't really mean to shoot him. That was for the
Right. I always said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
You always
That's-
wanted to
we
put it in their
always-
head. It worked. He
when it
came
comes-
back
See, that
out.
was one where it worked.
Right.
Worked out perfect, right?
Imagine that. So he came out with his hands up, and you didn't shoot?
He dropped the pistol on
Did
the floor. came
that
out.
work better than is Gary working?
Right.
People don't know that story. You have to watch an earlier episode.
Yeah, that was stupid.
But Leo had
I thought it was
an
good.
informant that I want him to tell you. Tell us about the informant over the years. And she's a gal, but she's been with Leo, an informant. And remember, Archie used to say there's the good and the bad of all informants.
Yeah.
This is the epitome of that. Go ahead and tell us about your relationship with her.
What's her name?
I can't say.
Mrs. Rice.
We'll just call her.
Yeah.
We'll just call her P.
Just kidding.
So
They've
I've
been together that long.
Yeah, we've been together about 28 years.
You and this informant?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
And has given me career cases. I mean, unbelievable stuff. I mean, but then, when you talk about informants, it morphs into, hey, my cousin this or my cousin that.
Oh, yeah,
They're in
yeah.
trouble, they're in trouble. You take care of something for them. Then you got, then they want to give you information. So sometimes you're running 2 phones at a time. You get so many informants. But some of the baggage just got, on the cousin side of it, just got to be too much. I can't deal with you.
Yeah.
Just too much baggage. But, yeah, you treat them right, and they always come back. And
That's probably why you and Archie were such good partners. You had the same philosophy.
and she and the other ones that I've used in the years, they'll even still call. When I was watching Archie's podcast, same thing. They'll call you just not wanting anything, just to give you a clue because they don't like what some people have done in their neighborhood,
Yeah.
and you pass it on.
Yeah.
But P, she's get mad at a lot of people. When she called Leo and she was mad,
Yeah.
that information was right on the money.
Yeah.
Because she wanted something done and she wanted it done now.
Now,
What was the best case she gave you?
That 9 ounces?
Let me ask you this.
Oh, no.
Hey, is she still giving you information
Yes.
to this day? So when you retire in a few years, you're going to pass that on to a younger officer?
Yes.
Interesting. And she'll continue to do it, huh?
Yeah. And I really can't say the names of everybody that she gave me because you don't want to.
Some of them
Right,
are
right.
friends. Yeah, she was mad at him that time.
Family.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember one that the guy went away for.
Well, the
for
one
life.
I was doing is the one that you guys got in that chase when Freddie caught everybody because he was faster than everybody.
Her. That was a different one.
Okay.
And that was
Yeah.
actually that was another informant, and he was mad because he was trying to sell his car, and he loaned his car to another drug dealer, and the guy went out of town. He came back. He put 1,000 miles on a classic car, so he was all pissed off. So,
And so he snitched on him.
yeah.
All right.
And he goes, I know he's got 2 keys in that house because I sold him the 2 keys.
We had a couple other informants.
Did you arrest them both?
Well, it was 2 brothers, and I was riding with your brother Timmy at the time, and we almost called it, and Timmy's like, no, don't call it because we've been out here for 10 hours and everybody's sitting and waiting to get antsy. Stick with it. And I said, all right, we're going to stick with it. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning when we finally did it.
Oh, that.
And we ended up with...
and Freddie Lathan, Freddie Lathan is a very fast detective, and he ended up catching every person. When all the hell broke loose, he'd just run past Leo and everybody else.
And then you just go over and grab the cup guy, and he'd go get the next guy. You know? You'd stay about 50 yards behind Freddie.
And just handcuff all his guys. Yeah.
You just stay with them.
Yeah.
But we had a couple other informants. 245.
245.
We called
We
quarter to
talked
3.
about it.
Every time he called, the guy had 245s. So we started calling him quarter to 3.
Well, he was doing that because we weren't popping out on his just like, oh, this guy's over here selling heroin. Well, all right, it's 12 o'clock. But we'll get him tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this guy's over here dealing heroin. He's got 245s on him.
Yeah.
So we started calling him quarter to 3.
Oh.
And then the Glasgow rat.
Hey, hey, you gotta be careful. That was Spees was fond of him.
Yeah, that's all right. He was good.
I don't- no,
I
he
mean,
was- and
Stank.
But his was...
Is that the one that
he wanted
Chief
money.
Speece rescued him and became friends with him and gave
That
him a
wasn't-
job?
No. The reason I'll tell you a story why Spees was fond of him. When Stanzi was killed, he actually called him on the phone and said he was sorry for it. So that was kind of a cool gesture on his part.
Yeah, it's really.
Is that-
Yeah.
Well, he was one of those
That's correct, Joe,
informants,
right?
too, that he had several policemen that he would call.
Yeah.
So if one guy didn't answer the bell, then he, how Archie
Oh.
said that gets dangerous. If this guy didn't answer the bell, he'd call this guy, and he wanted money. I mean, he was in it for the
He'd
money.
work his way all the way down to
Right.
Mobile Reserve.
He had a Rolodex?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
he
he had
did.
a lot of
And
people.
you had to wade through his stuff. Some of his stuff was really good. Some of it wasn't worth it. Like Tom said, you call about a guy, flipping heroin. You get up there and be like maybe one button.
The funny thing about him is we stopped him. It was in Mobile. We stopped him. I didn't stop him. Some other guy stopped him. And they set a bunch of guys on the curb. It was on a gas station right there at West Florissant. And I got out of the car. I was a sergeant at the time. And I'm not paying much attention. All of a sudden, I make eye contact with him. He's on the ground next to everybody. And he keeps giving me the eye gesture like that. I recognized him and realized he's trying to tell me that the guy 2 down from him is dirty. He kept looking at me going, dump.
Imagine that, JJ not paying attention. That's,
That wasn't my
that's
call.
weird.
It wasn't my stop. But I paid attention to that, and I said, it was funny. I started laughing, and I had to pull one of the guys aside and say, you might want to check this guy out real good. So that was him. He was a funny dude.
There was a time I was detached down to narcotics, and my first day down there, they put me with your partner, Timmy.
My brother?
Yeah, Timmy, yeah. So I rode with Timmy.
Now,
and-
if you remember, you rated him higher than me.
Well, and I want to change that now.
And that's wrong.
Because I'm having flashbacks. He made fun of my neck.
No.
Do you remember? Yeah. He called me Ichabod Crane. And so then it came down
I never
short.
heard that.
Oh. And then he just cut it short. He called me Icky. He goes, Icky,
He
get
still
over
called
here.
you Icky.
Yeah, Icky. That's short for
We got a
Ichabod
new
Crane.
nickname.
Yeah.
Okay, Icky.
And then he would be in the back seat and he'd ask me a question and I would just turn to look at him. And he just started laughing his ass off. He said, man, it takes a long time for your head to flip around. Anyway, I didn't appreciate that. So you are definitely higher than Timmy. Timmy's the lowest of all of them now.
The other good one, there was a time where there was a manpower issue, so they had to they disbanded the unit. And by that, I mean there was people there that were on the detachment. They weren't transferred in. There was some people from narcotics that were in narcotics, transferred in people, and then the people from the federal agencies. And so they sent all the detached people back, came out in a big article that we had been disbanded. It was gone. And Joe Speece, or Chief Speece said, no, that's not going to happen. He calls Jack Riley. They just beef it up. They send Mikey Mueller over from DEA. They send Tom Fisher over from DEA. They send more DEA guys over. And
Fabio.
Right. So we didn't go nowhere. We kept working.
Yeah.
Well, we're chasing this guy, and his name was, I'll just call him Guy. And this guy had shot a policeman in the past, and he had shot at Joe Speece in the past. But we were chasing him because he was,
That was
still
right.
He-
Sorry,
he-
Joe.
he was still out there just doing his thing. So Leo and I and the rest of us were chasing him, and we got him out in North County. Got him with a gun and dope and whatever, and we got him handcuffed, and he's handcuffed on the curb, and we got all our MVOP stuff on, and then he looks up at us and he goes, I thought you motherfuckers were disbanded.
And then there was a guy on on Dr. King that was selling a lot of heroin.
Oh, the King Sting.
Yeah.
Leroy
Dr. King
Ship.
Sting.
I'll say his name. Fuck him.
Stump. They called him Stump. so we take him off, and after we grab him, he had a pretty distinctive car. So after we grab him, Joe Speece is like
It was maroon. It was a maroon something.
maroon over white.
Yeah.
So after we grab him, Joe Speece says, "Hey, why don't we grab his car and put somebody in it and drive up and down the street and grab all these people buying heroin?" So we do that the next day. We put Clarence Hines, who I think was
just on our
the
show
guest.
last week.
We put Clarence Hines in the front seat. We put Freddie Lathan and Wendell Lishman in a car with him. And we drive up and down Dr. King with fake heroin, and all these people are waving them down. And the thing was, they'd get in the car, they'd drive, and they'd go around a place. That's what Stump would do. And he'd sell them the heroin, and they'd get out. So these guys were getting in the car, and they'd be like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Well, Stump got locked up yesterday, so I'm his brother. I'm trying to make his bond." So they'd come around the back to the school lot where we'd grab them, and a couple people were even like, "Man, they're using Stump's brother to lock us up."
But there was it
That's
was
some
real
out,
cool.
out of the box stuff by Chief Speece. You couldn't do that shit today.
Did you get approval for that?
What was cool though is that at the, about midway through this, we did it for 8 hours.
Oh my God.
There was we did it for 8 straight hours, and then there was an automotive place that had a garage where people pull in and get their car worked on. They had the owner sat out front with he made a big old sign that said "Thank you, officers," and he was standing there while we kept doing them because he knew it was us at that point.
Yeah.
He's like, "I got no problem." And he was just standing out there with a sign that said "Thank you, officers."
Back to my original point was that the day we did Stump, we did a warrant on his house too. And to this day, I still remember him sitting in the house, and he goes, "Man, where are you guys from?" And we're like, "Well, we're Violent Offenders Unit." He goes, "Man, I didn't want to be put on no list."
And then we had we used to call each other Scaredy Cuz all the time. And how that originated was
Scaredy Cuz?
Scaredy Cuz. You know, when we see each other, like if I see Schwerb or I see Lance Wolf or a lot of those guys, "Hey, what's up, Scaredy Cuz?" Well, what happened was that Wolf and Schwerb had locked up several guys in a car, and they had like a couple pounds of weed in the car. So nobody would take the weed, so they just locked all 3 of them up for weed. While they were booking them, the other 2 were telling the other one, "Hey, Scaredy Cuz, you got to take that case. You got that. You know that's your stuff. Now you got to take that case, Scaredy Cuz." And so then we just started calling each other Scaredy Cuz. What's up, Scaredy Cuz?
Did he take it?
Oh no. To this day, I don't know if they rectified that. I think he's still considered Scaredy Cuz.
Producer John, you were in that unit as well, right?
Yeah, the original unit, which started, well, actually, when Joe Speece got promoted out of intelligence, then I left and went to intelligence, and Tony too, right? Yeah. And but yeah, we put the original group together. That was Joe Moqua's idea, and
95, 96?
Yeah. And I rode with Larry Davis, was my original partner, and Don Henderson was our sergeant. And it was our first night. It was a Monday night. It was our first night. We figured we'll just kind of get out there and get to know each other and get a feel for it. And this car kept coming out for these carjackings, attempted carjackings, all over the city. And anyway, we were up on, like on Cass or something. And the car goes by, and it's these guys. It's the carjackers. It's the first night, you're right. So Larry and I jump. Don's like, "Go get them, boys." So we jump in, and we're just flying up Cass. Anyway. They ended up crashing up in the 4th District somewhere, and they all got out. They all had guns. They flourished us. We fired off a bunch. Larry shot out the back window of the car. I fired a bunch of shots. Didn't hit anybody. Larry didn't hit anybody, but we got. Two or three of the guys just gave up, and we got them at the scene. We got their guns, and we ended up catching the other guys. They told us who the other guys were, and we caught them all that night. And the next day, so I figured, we got these carjackers, and that. And then Joe Moqua was the chief of detectives at the time, and he calls me in his office the next morning. I think I'm going to get a commendation or pat on the back. He goes, Now, John, you and Larry just can't shoot at everybody. I said, they're card checkers. They had guns. They're pointing them at us.
And we're bad shots.
Yeah, we're bad shots. We didn't hit anybody. And they were terrible carjackers because they tried to like everybody they tried to carjack, the people just took off, and then they had to get back in the car and find somebody else. But anyway, we got no awards.
They were rookie carjackers.
They were, and hopefully they gave up after that night 'cause they weren't good.
What else you got, Tommy?
We ran through a lot of stories that I wanted. You got any other ones you want to cover, Tony? There was a lot of good work done.
Yeah.
Oh, tremendous work done. I
It was fun. That was probably the funnest era of my police career.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many. Well, we did a warrant right away up in the 6th district, and typical, we hit it, and there's like 6 or 8 people in the basement. So I remember we grab them, and we got the guy we were looking for, and we take him out, and the guy's kind of bitching, and Ken Solik, who was from DEA, he's standing at the edge of the cruiser, and he's helping him in, and the guy goes, "Man, what am I getting locked up for?" And Ken said, "Because you don't live there, right?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Well, you were in the basement. You should have been in there." So he's like, "All right." So about a week later, we do another house up in the 6th district. Hit the same thing, guys in the basement. And same thing, we get them out, we put them in, and Ken Solik's again at the back of the cruiser. And the guy goes, "What are you locking me up for?" And Ken said, "Because you were in the basement." And the guy goes, "Damn, my cousin got locked up for that last week."
Stay out of the basement.
Stay out of the basement.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm staying out of the basement.
Stay out of the basement.
I know there was another good one where we had JJ pull a car over. You know how we were going, we do the short-term cases, long-term cases, and at this point we were doing a wire on the BMF, and you know we would help out with that. The MVOP would help out with that all the time because it was a wild case, and we called JJ. I knew JJ was working. I said, "We need a car pulled over, brother," and he goes, "Where you at?" And so you could take it from there.
What's the BMF stand for?
Black Mafia Family.
Which is
It's on at Stars right now.
Okay.
They do a mini series on it, and by 50 Cent.
All right.
Yeah.
So no, we were just the takedown car. It was going down 70 and hit the Illinois bridge. And it was actually Ed Smoot was driving. I was the front passenger, and we were 3-man. And Cliff Summers was in the back seat. And we chased this car, and it was a Charger.
It was a souped-up Charger. Yep.
Charger, and we thought this thing's going. We're never gonna catch it, whatever. And for some reason, he just pulled over out of nowhere. We're like, holy crap, he pulled over. And I remember, I don't know why, but I walked up to the driver's side. He rolled the window down, and he had this defeated look on his face. I go, "What do you got in the car, anything?" He goes, he shook his head, and he goes, "You know what I got." I'm like, "Oh." And I actually did know, because you told me. So
We didn't know what we had. We just knew that he put something in the trunk.
Yeah, it's that big duffel bag or suitcase or whatever it was. So we went back there. We walked him back there, and we unzipped it. And it was
What do you have?
10 kilos.
10 kilos.
Is it safe to say that most of your good arrests when you were in Mobile Reserve came from other detectives' work and information?
They couldn't do it without me, brother. I mean, they weren't going to chase them over.
Is it
to
safe
Illinois.
to say that you took all the layups?
We did we did all the dirty work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what was another interesting from that 10 kilos, the kid got locked up.
I got a good picture though from it.
We'll put that up. I got it too. Well, the kid that got locked up, we had to lock him up because if you lock him up for the dope, you have to disclose how you got all the information, and we weren't ready to disclose the wire yet.
Right.
So he was on probation. So they violated his probation because of the car stop, but never charged him with the dope. Well, we were on a wire, like I said, and this guy, the main target's uncle, knows that this kid got locked up, and let's just call him, Fred. Hey man, is Fred still locked up? He's like, yeah. And he goes, what do they got him on? He goes, for that probation violation. He goes, and this guy called from prison. He called the target from prison, and he says, probation violation. So you're telling me he got pulled over with 10 keys, and they're holding him on a probation violation? And the guy goes, He goes, let me tell you what you got here, brother. He goes, what you got here is a conspiracy. And make no mistake about it, there's a lot of more motherfuckers going to jail, too.
He saw right through that.
He was right on. He goes, let me tell you what you got here, brother.
And it went to federal trial. And I had
Open that envelope.
I had to take the stand and testify. I was one of the first witnesses on the stand. And all of a sudden, this group of females and men all dressed to the nines in long coats, fur coats. I mean, dressed to the nines. And I'm like, who are these? I was like thinking to myself, who are these motherfuckers? And they filled the courtroom. It was all the black mafia's wives.
BMF's wives.
Yep. And I was like,
Unindicted co-conspirators.
yeah, it was crazy. I was like, because I didn't know, I never heard of BMF before.
These are phenomenal, good police work stories. But
Those are the funner ones that we came up with.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good stuff going on from a lot of those. I mean, just the group they put together was just a fun,
effective,
and we worked with narcotics at the time. You know, narcotics was filled with good detectives.
Homicide
Homicide,
would
yeah,
call
we-
us once a week and ask us
yeah,
to go find somebody.
go get somebody.
I like when they told us to go find a guy. We found him at work.
Yeah.
We're like, come on, man. Come on, man. At least
We've
give it
been
a
looking
shot.
all over for this guy.
At least give
He's
it a
at
shot.
work.
Don't tell, that's like telling us you haven't done anything without telling us you haven't done anything. Yeah, we got him at work, dude.
Before we wrap it up, though, I want to talk about, I mean, I know Leo and Sergeant Lachenicht both have numerous cars that they purchased from our number one sponsor, Schicker Automotive Group.
Oh,
So is that where you get your cars?
Schicker's sponsor? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, they're a big
know-
sponsor
Obviously,
for
don't
us.
listen to the show.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah,
for listening, Tony.
yeah.
No, I didn't. I haven't. Well, not in a while. Anyway, John Schicker's dad,
Bill Schicker?
and my dad were really good friends growing up. So I've known the Schickers all my life. So we've been buying cars from them forever. But and that's one thing I'll say about that family is when my dad passed away, I was young, I was 10, and Bill Schicker took care of my mom. He gave her a car, and she didn't pay for it for like 2 years. I don't know what he did,
Yeah.
but he took care of my mom and made sure that she had a good car for us to drive in. So because of that, I'll never say anything bad about that family. Now I could, but I won't say anything. No.
But I promise that was not scripted. That's a pretty neat story because
Yeah.
we always talk about them. They have a dealership, a Ford dealership.
I was just talking to Richard.
Go ahead.
3 days ago, and then they got another salesman, Sonny. I purchased 2 trucks from him out in Washington, Missouri.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him yesterday, telling him the new truck that I wanted to be on the lookout for it.
Yeah.
See, but tell them that the brighter side of blue sent you when you bought that car.
Yeah, you'll get a discount.
Because you get a discount.
Hey,
You get an
Tony.
extra
I
discount.
talked to John on the way over here.
Hey, real
I-
quick,
I was
Tony.
talking to John on the way
You
over.
want to
That's crazy.
Tell who your father was and who he rode with, and he wasn't just a regular
Oh.
father. I mean, he was.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad, Hank Lachenicht, was a sergeant in the police department. Rode with Ray Lauer.
Oh,
And
yeah.
They were involved in a pretty good shooting that I think Joe Burgoon talked about
Right.
when he was here. So,
So you do
Yeah.
listen.
yeah. Oh, yeah. On the ones I want to.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, Bill's, I've known that family since I
Yeah.
was little. And so,
Yeah.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Keep it
JJ.
around. Your family is a generation, 3 generations now, right? Or is it more?
it's my father, myself, and my brother, and then my son now.
Right.
And then my father-in-law
That'd be the third
was a
generation.
policeman, too.
Who was?
My father-in-law.
Becky's father.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Leo's family. You have 2 brothers.
My oldest brother, my middle brother, and myself. That's like 96 years on the police department between
Yep.
the 3 of us. Between my cousins and my nephews
the Maddens,
and
yeah.
older people there, I think we've had like 20 people on the police department.
There you go. It's a true family.
It's a
And it's a
family
family.
affair.
I mean, since like
It's
And
a
his
family
other
affair.
brother's a bishop.
kidding.
Can you
Yeah,
believe
Bishop
that?
Rice. Yep.
That's the biggest mystery of all.
I know.
Yeah.
Might have,
Out
we
of that
might have to
family.
have him call in, the bishop, and bless the show.
Yeah, yeah.
You
yeah.
never know.
Yeah, you never know if it'll happen.
And then we'll end with this story. And we've told this real quick, and we are at Columbo's Cafe, the proud sponsor of the Brighter Side of Blue. And I've told it in another episode, but I'll give it the Reader's Digest version for those that didn't listen. Leo and I got information that from Greg Columbo. His father got stabbed here, cash and check. We came in, we got the information that they had, and Leo worked the guy up. We ended up chasing him, and we ended up chasing him for about a half an hour, caught him over in Illinois. But the real neat part of it is that there was a group of detectives that had gotten off at midnight, and the pursuit kicked off at about 11:55. Well, they came up here because this is the spot we all came to booze a little bit, and one of the detective sergeants had their radio with him, and he brought it in and put it on the bar, and the entire bar gathered around. It was on a Thursday night, so it was a crowded night, and the whole bar, or the bar gathered around and listened to the pursuit on the radio, and
And what a pursuit it was.
Oh, great pursuit.
Started in South City, went into Soulard, downtown, and over the bridge.
Was it in Black Beauty? Were you driving Black Beauty?
Damn right I was. I was not
I was
losing
in a
that.
different car.
He was in a
Honda-
Mustang.
I was in some.
No, your Mustang.
No, I had the Honda then.
Yeah,
The little
you had that four-cylinder Honda. He was
You
the
remember,
Civic.
Freddie was driving.
Freddie was driving.
Freddie was driving, and when Terry and I jumped on 55 down near Arsenal because they were screaming they were heading down 55. So we jump on the highway ahead of them. And when they go by us, Leo is reclined in the front seat with the radio like this, and he had that goofy white T-shirt on. And he's calling out the pursuit. And as they shoot by us, Terry goes, is Leo asleep?
He was smoking a cigarette, I believe. He's just, yeah.
It was like he was on his living room couch, calling out this pursuit.
So the whole bar is listening to the pursuit.
Yeah, the
of
Black
the guy
Beauty
that
got
stabbed-
Black Beauty got charged. In the lead. We got him, and so the helicopter was they were called the ones calling it out. Because whatever channel they were on, and it was SOD or something. So they heard the mobile guys, and then the helicopter chimed in and said there was a short pause. They got him, and then flew off, and the whole bar went crazy.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool.
That's a really good story.
Hey, we forgot to mention one other thing. Leo, where'd you were in the original Mobile, right? When it's expanded.
Oh no, I went to Mobile when they
No,
when it became
okay.
50.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. The original 50.
Yes.
Okay, so you got your
That's where he learned how to be a
where are
policeman.
you
Right.
going with this?
No, he just learned how to be a
What are you
policeman
doing?
there.
well,
Well, you
do
know
have
who
to
else
say
was
anything?
there? You missed somebody. He's looking right at you.
He was a sergeant.
Right.
I don't count.
My sergeant.
You don't even
My
get what
sergeant.
he's, Matt
I go
Hannewinkle
on and
said.
on about that.
Matt Hannewinkle's thing.
Me and Tommy are the only ones that weren't in mobile.
Fuck mobile.
Fuck.
Yeah, we're starting.
Hey,
wait a minute.
We're starting to argue. We're
I was,
starting.
I was asked like 0 times to go there.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for coming.
Oh,
No,
thank you.
Great.
That was
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
That
That's
was
awesome.
awesome.
That was
Leo,
awesome.
thank you.
See you, brother.